There is something that comes with discovering the subconscious mind through the experience of your own that we don't take into consideration. It's impossible to create the space in your mind required to understand it if you don't, all right, so if you are seriously set out to understand the subconscious mind, through the experience of your own, there are other things that take place in your discovery of the subconscious mind that make it a much greater thing. The reason it's so difficult to find is the amount of space, sheer space you have to create in your mind to understand it when you witness your own. It's much more than you think. And at any point in the creation of that space, do you declare that you think you know what it is, you're done for. It's going to be until you realize you don't that you have a chance to even make the space for it. So I just want to say, just for the sake of this video, just consider that I truly understand the subconscious mind, the commonality in ours, and at least at the most, my very subconscious mind. And consider that's the genuine truth that these other things are going to happen the second you discover your subconscious mind through your experience of it. Okay? The first one is you're going to lose yourself. That is losing yourself. You find your mind, you lose yourself. How does that happen? It's an identity crisis, I should say. The discovery of your subconscious mind is an identity crisis. It's because from the seat of the subconscious mind, and with the very subconscious mind, the knowledge base of the subconscious mind, we use it to understand itself. So at the second you catch an objective glimpse of your subconscious mind, it's when you slip out of the seat of it and realize it as the very thing that you were looking for is what you were using to look for it. And it pops you out of it, and you get this objective perspective on it as, your ego, which is the second, like an ego death. So you lose yourself. You have an ego death. You lose yourself as everything you just thought you were. So all your knowledge base, your ego, all of this, there's this intuitive thing that happens when you point at something. And you realize at that very second that you are not that thing and that you just were. And when that happens, it's like you see the subconscious mind as everything you thought you were, the ego. You see the ego not as, you see it directly as everything I just thought I was, but intuitively I understand at this moment that's not what I am. So this identity crisis takes place. And, ego death, you lose yourself. And the other thing is you become conscious. You become conscious. It's not some understanding of a psychological term like, it's a true experience. And it requires you to become conscious. With the seat, I say you slip out of the seat of the subconscious mind when you catch a glimpse of it. You're looking through the glasses you're seeing, you're in the conscious mind looking at it. That's where you go from it. So it requires you to become conscious, to see your subconscious mind, because that is the place that you go to view it from. So you come out of the subconscious mind to see it through the conscious mind. And it doesn't end there. That marks the beginning of this journey you're going to go on, because whenever you go back into it, you don't forget what just happened. And I say this often, most of the time, you don't come to your understanding of the subconscious mind through asking yourself, what is the mind, and just going on some little YouTube bender to figure it out. It often comes on the backside of you setting out to fix your life, to help yourself. And you wind up and arrive at the mind and trying to understand what the mind is. And from there, I say all the time, you must direct your search to experience of your mind, not the mind. Ask yourself, what is my subconscious mind? But anyway, so that marks the beginning of the journey that you're going to go on of, given that you were trying to fix your life, which led to the discovery of your subconscious mind, the things that you were trying to sort out that drove you to that your life being out of place or whatever, you not being okay with yourself. So you were just seated in the subconscious mind with those things, unable to see them. Well, now you're sitting beside them. And all these things that are in the way of your experience being what you want it to be, you have to get them out of the way. And, often that's our past pain from experiences that cause us the most emotional response. So it's the beginning of a painful journey of realizing why the things are the way they are. All this stuff that's happened and the beginning of healing from all of that, with our parents alone, parents are not to blame. It's very difficult. I can't imagine being a parent. Like, it's almost impossible to be a good parent, to raise a child, not a good parent, but it's almost impossible to raise a child without giving them some form of trauma. I mean, right at birth, Jesus Christ. So you go through this period of blaming other people for you being a human. Okay, and it's completely necessary. And you do that to avoid what comes shortly after, which is blaming yourself, which is completely necessary, but at the end of the day, it's nobody's fault. And if you're going to move through this and move forward with your life, get back to a place where you're able to exist through your subconscious mind, through your past into the present, you're going to arrive at this place of realizing that, it's nobody's fault. Being a human is so hard, and the power of subjectivity. While you're seated in the subconscious mind, let me just say, you're subjective to it. You cannot see your subconscious mind from the seat of the subconscious mind. And we often, so it's like you've got this dress hung in front of you that you can't stand to look at, but it's just stuck there for the rest of your life. In order to get away from it, you put it on. Okay? That's what we do with the subconscious mind. And now you don't have to see the dress anymore, but everybody's looking at you like you're ugly or hideous. And you don't know why, and you're just blaming other people and stuff, but you have forgotten that you put on the very dress that you thought was so hideous because you couldn't stand to look at it either. And now you're wearing it. And that's what we do with this trauma and muck of our subconscious mind, that this journey will actually, you take to deal with it instead of doing this very thing, which is we put it on. We put on this shit that we can't stand to deal with to get away from it and throw it onto other people. And blame them for not being able to handle us when we can't handle ourselves. It don't make no sense. And, often the push that will turn you around on yourself, on your mind, to force you to deal with your own crap is when you begin to make other people's experience much more difficult. I believe and have very strongly, because of how difficult this is to be human, is whatever you're doing, if it's not hurting other people, dude, I do not care. I do not blame you. You should be able to do whatever you want to if you're not hurting other people. But when we begin to impend our own doom on other people, it's as if the universe or God or whatever you want to call it drives you inward to sort it out, honestly, to save you, because I think that's where true kind of karma comes from, is the hurt and pain we cause other people is pain that we're going to feel eventually ourselves. The last one is understanding. As I said, it's going to require you to move forward after you see your subconscious mind. You're going to have to map it out. You're going to have to develop this understanding of yourself. The one you just thought you were, you now are separate from, and you're pointing at it. It's your higher self. You shift into the seat of your higher self at the observance of your subconscious mind. And look, it's like this. It's in your journey to see your subconscious mind. Imagine not knowing that you're a human being and you're learning all about human beings. It's going to happen when whatever in that journey you would realize that. So imagine you don't realize you're a human being. You're learning all about the human. You're sitting in anthropology class or whatever. The human's this. And then suddenly you realize you're a human being. You are that thing you're learning about. you see how that space has to be created inside of you for you to, it's a moment of consciousness. And so whether you're set out to, learn what is the ego, become conscious, change your life, your mind, heal, understand yourself, all of it can happen through taking awareness. It's through awareness that this all happens. At the question, what is my subconscious mind, with the backlogged idea or intention to witness your own. Everything else develops this space in you that's going to allow you to do that. And I hope this will help with that.